I think that for some of my friends and colleagues who have been working already for many years, you will also have experienced different kinds of organizational settings and different kinds of bosses. And you will have bosses who really work you very, very hard, but to achieve a goal and an objective, which is one of, say, self-aggrandizement. Or really he's working you hard so that he can get a promotion for himself and is not really interested in you or really the organization and the good of the organization. And some of you will have that experience. And you don't enjoy working in those conditions, and you're not going to go with him if he really asks you to sort of do something extraordinary. You're doing it because you have to, because that's your job, but you're not doing it because you think you should be doing it. But you're doing it because you have to do it. So, a leader has to build trust. He needs to have a genuine respect for the people that he works with and he leads. To treat them as a fellow human being, a friend and a fellow in the organization. Both of you need to work together in order to get to the goal that both of you want to reach. And now I come to the last part of what I really want to talk about, and which is how you translate this idea of institutions and leaders and values-based leadership from organizations to countries. One of Singapore's strengths is our system of meritocracy, which offers opportunities, equal opportunities for all, regardless of their family background or race, to go into the system, benefit from it, get the best that they can out of the system, go as far as possible. But the people who rise to the top in such a system on the basis of merit also have to understand and acknowledge that they have risen not just through their own individual effort, but it is also through the collective effort of others, through the collective effort of everyone who has contributed to constructing a system in which he has been able to do well and to excel. And therefore, a person who is able to achieve success, however defined in such a system, needs to be humble and to recognize that they are not the smartest guy around and that because of himself only he succeeded, but it is that he has had the benefit of a system, and that he does not have a monopoly on all wisdom and knowledge, and that if he as a leader wants his organization or his country to succeed, that he cannot function in isolation, and he will need to draw on the pool of wisdom and knowledge and all the energies of the people whom he leads in his organization or in his country. This will become increasingly important in the future. The world has become flatter, information flows are more open, and persons at each level will need to respond quickly, make decisions in their own domains, and collaborate rapidly to make decisions across an organization. And you'll see that characteristic become more and more pronounced in organizations which are successful in the world. It used to be that the organizations were very hierarchical and they were tall organizations. And there were many layers in an organization where the people who are running at those points in the organization, their main function was to collect and collate information from that layer below, try and make some sense of them, and pass them on to the next level. But today, with much flatter organizations, with info management systems, with data analysis, with enterprise systems. Organizations have now become much flatter, and many of these things are now being done by computer systems, and you really require fewer people in an organization to merely process data from one level to pass it on to the next level. And what happens is that that information is also much more widely available across an organization. And therefore, the ability for people to self-synchronize, to know what's happening, to know what the objective is, they know what's happening, and they can respond much more quickly to an evolving situation. And that's becoming true all across in all organizations. So, when I was in the SAF, when I was in MINDEF, we experimented with various kinds of command and control systems to distribute information and collect and distribute information among different echelons, say a brigade commander and his battalion commanders and all his other elements in his brigade. And we were able to distribute it out. And the most scary thing for the brigade commander was that when he found out that he was not connected to the system and he wasn't able to communicate with the other people for quite an extended period of time, it didn't matter. In fact, the fact that he wasn't able to communicate and give them instructions didn't matter, because the others were all in contact with each other. They could see the situation and they knew what his intention was, and they were able to continue to self-synchronize and continue to function and do what they were supposed to do without him having to tell them, you do this and you do that and you move here and you move there. And so at the same time, it's a scary feeling because, somehow or other you're not so important anymore. But at the same time, it's a very reassuring feeling because you know that you have trained and run a battalion, you have trained and run your formation well. So they know your thinking, they know your intentions, and when you leave them alone and you give them the right information, they know what to do and they know how to achieve the objective on their own. So many organizations are now more akin to that today. And so we have to think about the world and our organizations in a different way. The more you're able to understand the new world and harness its potential to maximize your advantages and minimize your disadvantages, the more you're able to succeed. And in a sense, this is what Singapore has been able to do thus far. As a small country, we have many disadvantages. But of course, small countries have advantages as well. Big countries have many advantages over small countries, but of course, big countries also have their disadvantages. So where we have been able to be successful is because we have been able to minimize the disadvantages of being small and maximize the advantages of not being big. And that allows us to be tighter, more nimble, more flexible, more able to respond to changes in the world than other people have been. And that's one of the reasons why we have been able to be successful compared to many other countries. But of course, there are many good reasons as well. I mean, we have been able to be a more cohesive society and allowed us to use our smallness to great advantage. We have remained cohesive and united in our purpose, and we have been able to work together rather than at cross purposes. And this has enabled us to respond quickly and to stay ahead of others. So to ensure that Singapore continues to succeed in the future, we will need both sound institutions as well as good leaders who will work for the people, engender trust, and can bring the people forward together with them. And perhaps the most important success factor for a country is that there will always be good people who are prepared to come forward to serve, and that there's a process by which they can come through and can do so. If we don't have that, I think then over a period of time, the country will lose energy and focus and will decline. There are many young people in the audience today. You are the ones who will be making the difference in the future. You can make sure that Singapore remains united, nimble, and ready to tackle the challenges of that future, so that Singapore continues to be not just good, but a special and extraordinary nation that we can all be proud of. So I hope that the young people here today especially will do your part in building a better future for Singapore and for yourselves. So I'll stop here, and then we can have a discussion and have a conversation, as I said. Thank you very much.